They chained me at the altar. They thought this Omega silence meant guilt, but they didn't know the Alpha King wasn't hunting a bride. He was hunting the monster who slaughtered his family. And I held the only clue. The silver chains burned. I could feel them searing through the thin silk of my wedding gown, scorching the skin beneath. The metal hissed against my flesh like a living thing, hungry and cruel. My wrists, my ankles, my throat. I did not cry. Not when Alpha Theron and Blackthorn fastened the last shackle. Not when 500 wolves watched in silence. Not when my own people, the Silverpine Pack, stood among them and did nothing. I lifted my chin, met his eyes. Once those eyes had held warmth. Once he looked at me like I was dawn breaking over winter. We were children when we first met, enemies by birth, friends by choice. The border skirmishes between Silverpine and Ironwood had raged for 50 years. But Theron and I, we were different. We believed in peace. We believed in each other. Now his eyes held nothing but ice. Kalara Nightshade, his voice carried across the ceremonial grounds, deep and unwavering. Alpha Command, every wolf present felt the weight of it, the power that pressed down on bent necks and bowed heads. You stand accused of murder, high treason, conspiracy against the Ironwood Pack. The morning sun caught the silver in his dark hair. 24 years old, and he wore the mantle of Alpha like armor. Broad shoulders, scarred hands, the kind of strength that came from loss. His parents had died 3 months ago, slaughtered in their own chamber, throats torn out. The assassin had moved like smoke, left no trace except the blade. A blade that smelled of night-blooming jasmine and winter frost. My scent. The evidence is clear. Theron's jaw tightened. For a moment, just a heartbeat, something flickered in his expression. Pain. Doubt. Then it was gone, buried beneath duty and grief. The weapon was found in your possession. The Oracle has seen the truth in her visions. He gestured to the woman standing 3 steps behind him. Serenith Shadowveil. She was beautiful the way poison was beautiful. Pale skin, silver blonde hair that fell like water down her back. Eyes the color of twilight, distant and knowing. The Ironwood Pack called her blessed, touched by the moon goddess. Every prophecy she spoke came true. Every warning she whispered found blood. Now those twilight eyes fixed on me, her lips curved, soft and serene. The vision was clear, Alpha. Her voice reminded me of wind chimes, delicate, haunting. I saw her standing over the bodies. I saw the blade in her hand. I saw her smile. A lie, every word was a lie, but I could not prove it. Not here. Not chained and powerless before a pack that wanted justice for their dead. She planned this for months. Serenith continued, her gaze never leaving mine. The courtship, the treaty, the wedding, all of it was designed to get close to you, Alpha, to position herself inside Ironwood's defenses. The Silverpine Pack seeks to destroy us from within. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, angry, shocked, betrayed. I searched the faces for my father. Alpha Aldrich Nightshade stood near the back, his weathered face carved from stone. 60 years of leading Silverpine, and he looked older now than I had ever seen him. He met my eyes. He believed Serenith. They all did, because oracles did not lie. To lie was to invite the moon goddess's wrath, blindness, madness, death. Every pack knew this truth. Every wolf was raised with it. So if Serenith said I was guilty, then I was guilty. Do you deny these accusations? Theron asked. Not gentle, not cruel, simply Alpha. I deny them. My voice came out steady, stronger than I felt. I have never harmed your family. I have never conspired against Ironwood. The blade was planted. The vision is false. The Oracle does not lie. Then someone else does. Theron's hand moved to the sword at his hip, not threatening, just anchoring. You were the last person seen near my parents' chamber that night. I brought them medicine, elderflower tea for your mother's headaches. Your father walked me to the door himself. He was alive when I left. The guards saw no one else enter. Then they were bribed, or threatened, or spelled. Convenient, Serenith's wind chime voice cut through the tension. She accuses everyone but herself. The guilty always do. I turned to her, really looked at her. 26 years old, daughter of the most feared general in the Shadow Territories. Morvana Shadowveil, a name whispered in darkness. A blade that served no pack, only golden power. What was her daughter doing here, playing Oracle for Ironwood? You speak of guilt, Serenith. I kept my voice level, respectful, even as the silver burned deeper into my skin. Tell me, In all your visions, did you see who truly killed Alpha Gregor and Luna Marianne? Did you see their face? Or only mine? Something flashed across her features, too quick to name. The moon goddess shows what she wills. Serenith's smile never wavered. And she has shown me your treachery. Theron raised his hand. Silence fell like a blade. Kaelara Nightshade, I had hoped you would confess, that you would show remorse. His voice dropped lower, rough with something that might have been grief. We were to be married today, bound by ceremony and choice. I believed in you, in us, in the peace we could build. He stepped closer, close enough that I could see the shadows beneath his eyes, the nights he had not slept. The weight of leading a pack that grieved and raged and demanded blood. But you have betrayed that trust. His hand rose. For a moment I thought he might touch my face the way he used to. Gentle, wondering. You have killed my parents, destroyed my family, and now you will face justice. Theron. I whispered his name. Not Alpha, not Blackthorn, just him. The boy who once showed me how to track deer through snow. The young man who kissed me beneath the summer moon and promised that one day we would end the war between our packs. Please, you know me. You know I would never... His palm struck my cheek. The crack echoed across the grounds. My head snapped sideways. Pain bloomed sharp and hot. The silver chains rattled as I swayed, barely keeping my balance. Gasps, whispers, shock rippling through the gathered wolves. I tasted copper, felt warmth trickling from my split lip. When I looked back at him, Theron's face was carved from granite, but his hand trembled at his side. Do not speak of what I know. His voice was colder than winter. I thought I knew you. I thought the bond we shared was real. But you have proven yourself a liar and a murderer. He turned away, addressed the packs. Witnesses have come forward. Marcus Riverstone saw her speaking with a hooded figure the night of the murders. Lydia Ashwood found the blade hidden beneath her bed. And Oracle Serenith has confirmed what we all feared. Marcus, Lydia, I barely knew them. Minor pack members, easily bought or threatened. This was a trap, a perfectly laid snare, and I had walked straight into it. The penalty for murdering an Alpha and Luna is death. Theron's proclamation rang out. But death is too swift, too merciful for such betrayal. He gestured to the priest standing beside the altar. The place where we were meant to exchange vows now held something else. A ceremonial bowl, silver ash gleaming within. No, not that. You will be stripped of your wolf, Theron said. Each word fell like a stone into dark water, severed from the bond that connects you to the pack, cast out as the wolfless creature you have proven yourself to be. Theron, please. I could not stop the tremor in my voice now. Not the ritual, anything but that. Losing my wolf meant losing everything, the strength that flowed through my veins, the heightened senses that painted the world in vivid color and rich scent, the connection to the pack, the invisible threads that made us one. It meant becoming human, weak, alone, prey. You showed no mercy to my parents. His eyes met mine one final time, empty, decided. I will show you none. Two warriors seized my arms, dragged me toward the altar where the priest waited. The bowl of silver ash seemed to pulse with terrible light. I struggled, not because I thought I could break free. The chain saw to that, but because something in me refused to go quietly into this darkness. Hold her. The warrior's grips tightened. One pressed my head down, forcing me to kneel. The stone bit into my knees through the silk gown, the wedding dress I had chosen with such care. Ivory and lace, delicate as hope. Now it was stained with dirt and blood. The priest began to chant, ancient words in the old tongue, a language that predated packs and territories, spoken when wolves were wild and magic ran free through the world. He dipped his fingers into the silver ash. I felt the bond first, that invisible tether connecting me to my wolf. My other self, the part of me that was speed and strength, fang and claw. She howled inside my mind, not in anger, in fear. She knew what was coming. The priest pressed ash to my forehead. Fire, that was the only word for it. Not the clean burn of hearth flame, but something deeper, older, wrong. It spread from the point of contact, racing down through my skull, my spine, my heart, searching for the bond, finding it, tearing it. I screamed. The sound ripped from my throat, raw and broken. My back arched, every muscle seized. The chains rattled as I convulsed, fighting against the invasion. The violation of having something sacred carved out of me. My wolf howled louder, desperate, pleading. Then she was gone. The silence in my mind was absolute, devastating. No heartbeat but my own. No presence sharing my thoughts. No strength waiting beneath my skin. Just emptiness. The priest spoke the final words, pressed ash to my heart. The bond shattered. I felt it break like bone, like glass, like something that could never be made whole again. When the warriors released me, I collapsed, lay there on the cold stone, gasping, shaking, hollow. Theron's boots appeared in my limited vision. Kelara Nightshade, his voice seemed to come from very far away. You are hereby stripped of your wolf and exiled from Packlands. You will be taken to the frozen abyss and cast into its depths. If the goddess has mercy, your death will be swift. The frozen abyss, a chasm in the northern mountains, miles deep, walls of sheer ice. No one who fell into it ever returned. 12 hours. That was how long a human could survive in that cold before hypothermia took them. I was human now. Any last words? I lifted my head. It took everything I had, every scrap of will left in my broken body. I am innocent. Blood bubbled on my lips. And one day, the truth will destroy you. Theron's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. He nodded to the warriors. They hauled me upright, began dragging me toward the transport wagon. The crowd parted. Some faces held pity. Most held satisfaction. Justice served. The traitor caught. My father watched me pass, did not speak, did not move. Even he believed the lie. As they threw me into the wagon, as the wheels began to turn and carry me toward death, I caught sight of Serenith. She stood beside Theron, close enough that her shoulder nearly brushed his, and she was smiling. Not the serene expression of a blessed oracle, the victorious smirk of a predator. The frozen abyss lived up to its name. They brought me to the edge at sunset. The sky bled crimson and gold, beautiful and terrible. The chasm opened before us like the world's mouth. Darkness within, ice glittering along the edges, ancient and hungry. The wind that rose from its depths carried the cold of forgotten places. I stood on the rim, still chained, still wearing the ruined wedding gown. The warriors who had brought me here said nothing, just loosened the chains enough to free my ankles. One of them, a young male with kind eyes, hesitated. I am sorry, he whispered it, quick, furtive. I do not believe you did it. Then help me. He flinched, looked away. I cannot. I have a family, a daughter. I understood. Serenith's reach was long, her mother's longer. Go, I told him, before they suspect mercy. He retreated, joined the others. The lead warrior, a scarred female named Helena, stepped forward. No kindness in her face, only duty. Any gods you wish to pray to, do it now. I looked into the abyss, felt its cold breath on my face. I am done praying. Helena nodded once, then shoved. I fell. The wind screamed past, the walls of ice blurred. I spun, weightless and plummeting. The chains tangled around me. My hair whipped across my face. I should have been terrified. But all I felt was rage. Rage at the lies, the betrayal, the bond torn from my chest, the future stolen. Everything I had fought for, hoped for, burned to ash. If I died here, Serenith won. I refused to let her win. The impact came sudden and brutal. Not rock, not ice. Water. I plunged beneath the surface of a pool I had not seen in the darkness. The cold was instant and absolute. It drove the air from my lungs, seized my muscles. The chains pulled me down, heavy and merciless. I kicked, clawed at the water. My body was weak now, human. No wolf strength to draw on, but I had something else. Will. I would not die like this. Not for her entertainment, not for her lies. My lungs burned, vision dimming. The surface seemed impossibly far. Then my hand struck stone, a ledge, underwater. I grabbed it, pulled with everything I had. My head broke the surface. I gasped, choked, sucked in air that felt like knives. The pool was small, fed by an underground spring, I realized. The water icy but not frozen. That was what saved me. If I had hit solid ice, my skull would have shattered. I dragged myself onto the ledge, lay there shaking violently. The chains clinked with each tremor. Above, far above, I could see a sliver of crimson sky. The opening of the abyss. They would assume I was dead, broken on the rocks or drowned in the depths. Let them think it. I needed to survive the night first. The cavern around me was dark, but not completely. Strange luminescent moss clung to the walls, giving off a faint blue-green glow. Enough to see by, barely. I forced myself to sit up, examined the chains. Silver, still locked. But wet silver was slippery. I worked my wrists, slowly, carefully. The metal scraped skin raw. Blood welled up, making them slicker. After what felt like hours, my left hand slid free, then the right. The collar around my throat took longer. I had to find a sharp rock, wedge it into the lock mechanism, pray. It popped open with a click that echoed through the cavern. I was free. Wet, freezing, weak, but free. Now to stay alive. The cavern extended deeper into the mountain. I could feel air moving. Not trapped then. A way through. Maybe a way out. I stumbled forward. My dress dragged at me, heavy with water. I tore the skirt away. Left myself in the underdress, easier to move. The moss grew thicker as I went deeper. I recognized some of it, teachings from my childhood. My mother had been a healer before she died. She taught me plants, herbs, what could save and what could kill. This moss, ghost glow they called it, grew only in the deepest caves, could be eaten in small amounts, gave energy, too much brought madness. I scraped some into my palm, chewed it slowly. It tasted like earth and metal, but warmth began to spread through my chest. I kept walking. The cavern opened into a larger space, and I stopped, stared. Ruins, ancient stone structures carved directly into the living rock, pillars that reached toward the cavern ceiling. Walls covered in symbols I had never seen before. Not modern pack marks, something older, much older. I moved closer to the nearest wall, ran my fingers over the carvings. They were worn but still visible. Images of wolves, but not like any wolves I knew. These were massive, regal. They wore crowns of stars, and beneath them, words in a language that tugged at something deep in my memory. I could not read it, not fully, but certain symbols looked familiar. I had seen them before, in my mother's oldest journals, the ones she kept hidden, the ones she told me never to speak of. Royal marks. My breath caught. What was this place? I explored deeper, found what might have been a throne room, the seat carved from a single piece of crystal that still gleamed despite centuries of darkness. Found chambers with stone beds, tables, tools. People had lived here, a community, hidden away from the world. Why? In what might have been a library, I found stone tablets. Most were too damaged to read, but one, protected in an alcove, remained intact. The symbols swirled across its surface. And as I stared at them, something strange happened. They began to make sense. Not in my mind, deeper. In my blood. In my bones. The words formed slowly, like remembering a language I had spoken in dreams. When shadow falls and blood is spilled, when false light claims the throne, the last of sovereign kind shall rise and call the lost ones home. Beware the veil of twilight lies, the daughter born of dark, for she will hunt the royal blood and leave her cursed mark. I read it 3 times, then a 4th, sovereign kind, royal blood. The wolves in the carvings wore crowns. This was not just any ruin. This was a royal site, a place of power and lineage, and a sound echoed through the cavern, distant but clear, metal on stone. The clash of weapons, fighting. Someone was here in the abyss, and they were dying. Every instinct screamed at me to hide. I was weak, wolfless. What could I do against armed warriors? But the sound came again, a roar of pain and rage. That voice, I knew that voice. I ran. I followed the sound of death through ancient corridors. The ruins twisted deeper into the mountain. The ghost glow moss gave way to darkness, broken only by veins of crystal embedded in the stone. They pulsed with faint light, blue, then violet, then silver. Like a heartbeat, the clash of steel grew louder, closer, and beneath it, that voice, roaring, commanding, fighting. Not Theron, someone else. I emerged into a vast chamber and froze. 20 wolves surrounded a single figure. They moved like smoke given form, black leather armor, faces concealed behind masks carved to resemble skulls. Assassins. The kind that did not belong to packs, the kind that served only gold and death. And in their center he stood. Tall, broader than any wolf I had seen, dark hair matted with blood, a sword in each hand, steel singing as he moved. Grace and violence woven together. He fought like a storm made flesh. But he was losing. I could see it, the way his left side dipped. The dark stains spreading across his ribs. The slight hesitation before each swing. Poison. The assassin's blades gleamed purple in the crystal light. Wolfsbane. It weakened shifters, slowed healing. Enough of it would stop the heart. He had been fighting for a while. He would not last much longer. One assassin lunged. The man parried, but another struck from behind. The blade caught his shoulder. He grunted, spun, took the attacker's head with a single stroke. 19 left. They pressed closer. A tightening noose. I should run, hide, survive. I was wolfless, weak. What could I possibly do? But my mother's voice echoed in my memory. The lessons she taught when I was small, before sickness took her, before I learned that healing hands could not save everyone. Wolfsbane has an antidote, starfire root. Rare, grows only in the deepest caves where magic still breathes. I looked at the moss-covered walls, the crystal veins, the ancient power humming through stone. Magic still breathed here. I searched frantically, scanned the chamber's edges while the man fought and bled and died. There, a cluster of plants growing from a crack in the wall, thin stems, star-shaped leaves that glowed faintly gold. Starfire root. I ran for it, tore the plants free. The roots came loose with bits of stone clinging to them. I stuffed them in the remains of my dress, grabbed more, as much as I could carry. An assassin noticed me. He broke from the circle, moved toward me with terrible speed. I had no weapon, no strength, no wolf. I grabbed a rock. He laughed. The sound distorted behind his skull mask. Then his head snapped back. The man had thrown a dagger. It buried itself in the assassin's throat. He fell without a sound. Our eyes met across the chamber. His were silver, bright as winter stars, and in them I saw shock, recognition. Impossible. He did not know me. We had never met, but something in his expression said otherwise. Then 3 assassins struck at once. He turned, defended, blood sprayed. I worked fast, crushed the starfire root between 2 stones. The leaves released a sharp, clean scent. Like lightning and spring rain, I needed heat, fire to activate the oils. The crystal veins pulsed brighter. I pressed the crushed root against one. The heat it gave off was gentle but constant. Enough, the paste began to steam. Turn gold, then white, ready. I looked up. The man was on one knee now, still fighting, but fading. 12 assassins remained. They sensed victory, moved in for the kill. I did not think. I ran straight into the battle, ducked under a sword swing, slid across blood-slicked stone, came up beside him. Don't move. I pressed the paste against the wound on his ribs. He stared at me. What are you? Saving your life. Now fight. The starfire paste sank into his skin. I saw the moment it took effect. His eyes brightened. The sluggish movements sharpened. The poison burning through his veins met its match. He surged to his feet. What happened next was not battle. It was execution. He moved faster than I could track. The swords in his hands became extensions of his will. Each strike found flesh. Each movement flowed into the next without pause or mercy. An assassin came at me. He intercepted, drove steel through the attacker's heart, pulled it free and killed another in the same motion. Protective. He was protecting me while he fought. Within minutes, it was over. 12 bodies, silent and still. The man stood among them, breathing hard. Blood dripped from his blades, painted the ancient stone. He turned to me. We stood perhaps 10 feet apart. Him in ruined armor, weapons drawn. Me in a torn underdress, covered in moss and dirt and someone else's blood. You saved my life. His voice was deep, rough, the kind of voice that commanded armies and expected obedience. You were dying. I noticed. He sheathed his swords, moved toward me, each step deliberate, watching me like I might vanish if he blinked. How did you know about the starfire root? My mother was a healer. Was. Dead, 8 years now. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that I could see the silver of his eyes was not uniform. Flecks of ice blue scattered through it. Storm colors. You should not be here. He said it gently, almost carefully. The frozen abyss kills anyone who falls into it. How are you alive? I fell into water, found the ruins, learned to survive. His gaze traveled over me, taking in the torn dress, the raw skin where chains had burned, the hollow look of someone recently stripped. You are wolfless. Not a question. He could sense it, or rather, sense the absence of it. Yes. Recently. Today, something flickered across his face, rage. But not at me. For me. Who did this to you? Does it matter? It matters to me. I did not understand why. Did not understand the intensity in his voice, the way his hands clenched at his sides like he wanted to hit something. I was accused of murder. I kept my voice flat, factual. Stripped and exiled, that is all you need to know. That is not all I need to know. He took another step. What is your name? Kalara, Kale. Kale, he said it slowly, like tasting wine, testing the weight of it. I am Zephyr Stormcaller, AlphaKing of the Frostbound Empire. The world tilted. AlphaKing, the most powerful wolf in the Northern Territories. Ruler of 7 packs, commander of the largest army this side of the mountains. And I had just saved his life with roots and rocks. You are far from your kingdom, AlphaKing. Zephyr, just Zephyr, he corrected, then paused, seemed to struggle with something. I was hunting. Assassins? The assassins are a complication. I am hunting the one who sent them. And who is that? His jaw tightened. The same one who killed my family 5 years ago. The grief in his voice was old, then deep, the kind that never fully healed. You have my sympathy. Losing family to murder is... I stopped, swallowed. It leaves scars. Yes, he studied me. You understand. I can see it in your eyes. I looked away. We should leave. More could come. Agreed. Can you walk? I am wolfless, not crippled. A ghost of a smile touched his mouth. Forgiven. I forget sometimes that strength does not require a wolf. He moved to gather weapons from the fallen assassins. Efficient, practical. When he returned, he carried 2 daggers. For you, in case we are separated. I took them. The weight felt foreign in my hands. I had trained in combat like all pack children. But that was before, when I had wolf strength and speed to rely on. Now I was human, fragile. Thank you. We walked side by side through the ruins. Zephyr moved despite his injuries. The starfire paste had neutralized the poison, but the wounds themselves still bled. You need proper treatment, I told him. Those cuts are deep. I have survived worse. Surviving and healing are different things. He glanced at me. You sound like my healer. Your healer would tell you not to fight 20 assassins alone. 19, you killed one. You killed one for me. I just distracted him with a rock. This time his smile reached his eyes. I will remember. Kale of the Deadly Rock. Despite everything, I almost laughed. We reached a branching corridor. Zephyr paused, sniffed the air. Even wounded, his senses were sharper than mine. This way, I can smell fresh air. We followed the scent. The passage sloped upward, and as we climbed, something strange happened. The air between us changed. It started as warmth, a gentle heat that had nothing to do with exertion. Then it grew, spread, like invisible threads connecting us. I felt it in my chest, where the bond used to live. But that was impossible. The bond was gone, torn out, destroyed. Yet this feeling persisted, grew stronger with each step we took together. Zephyr felt it too. I could tell by the way his breathing changed, the way he kept glancing at me, confused, wary, drawn. We emerged into a smaller cavern. A natural chimney in the rock led upward toward distant starlight, a way out, but we would have to climb. Zephyr examined the wall, found handholds. I will go first. Make sure the route is safe. With your injuries? I heal fast. He started climbing. I watched the muscles in his back shift beneath the torn armor. Strong, capable, despite everything he had endured. Halfway up, his hand slipped. The wound on his side had reopened. Blood made the stone slick. He caught himself. Barely. Zephyr, I am fine. You are bleeding. It will stop. Not if you fall and crack your skull. He looked down at me. Even in the dim light, I could see the stubborn set of his jaw. Do you have a better suggestion? Yes, come down. Let me treat the wound properly. Then we climb together. There is no time. Those assassins will have reinforcements. When I do not return, then we move fast, but not recklessly. You are no good to your hunt dead. For a long moment, he simply looked at me, weighing, deciding. Then he climbed down. You are very stubborn. So are you. I'm an AlphaKing. It is expected. I am an exiled Omega. It is survival. He sat on a boulder, started to remove his armor, hissed when the movement pulled at his ribs. Let me. I moved closer, helped him unlace the leather, eased it off his shoulders. The wound beneath was ugly, deep, still seeping blood. I had limited supplies, some starfire root left, ghost glow moss, the remains of my dress for bandages. It would have to be enough. I crushed more starfire. Mixed it with moss to make a paste that would fight infection. My fingers worked quickly, efficiently, muscle memory from years of watching my mother heal. Zephyr watched me. I could feel his gaze, heavy, curious. Where did you learn this? I told you, my mother. She must have been an exceptional healer. She was, until fever took her. And your father? Alpha of Silverpine Pack. He is alive, as far as I know. Does he know you are here? I pressed the paste against the wound, perhaps harder than necessary. Zephyr grunted but did not flinch. He watched them exile me. He believed I was guilty. Of what? I began wrapping the makeshift bandage. Murder, treason, conspiracy. Take your pick. Did you do it? My hands stilled. I looked up, met those silver eyes. No. Then you were framed. Yes. By who? An oracle named Serenith Shadowveil. I felt him go rigid beneath my hands. What did you say? Serenith Shadowveil. She had visions, accused me. The pack believed her. Zephyr's expression turned to stone, but beneath it something dangerous stirred. Serenith Shadowveil. He repeated the name like a curse. Daughter of General Morvana. You know them. I know of them. The general is a mercenary, sells her services to the highest bidder. No loyalty, no honor, just gold and blood. He stood abruptly, began to pace. And the daughter, she has been moving through the packs for years, always appearing before disaster, always offering warnings, earning trust. She is not a real oracle. No, but she is dangerous. He turned to me. AlphaKing. The night my family died, a woman matching her description was seen near the palace. When I tried to investigate, she had vanished, gone like smoke. Understanding crashed through me. She killed your family. I cannot prove it, but yes, I believe she did or orchestrated it. Why? That is what I have been trying to discover for 5 years. Frustration roughened his voice. Every lead ends in dead witnesses. Every trail goes cold. She is protected by someone with power and reach. I thought of Theron, how quickly he had believed her, how completely. She is with Ironwood Pack now, close to the Alpha. Zephyr's eyes sharpened. How close? Close enough to whisper in his ear, to guide his decisions. I stopped, realized. She wanted me dead, not just exiled, dead. If I had not fallen into water, you would have died on the rocks below, Zephyr finished. His voice dropped to something almost gentle. But you did not. You survived. Barely. Barely is still breathing. He moved closer, close enough that I had to tilt my head to maintain eye contact, close enough that I could see the faint scars on his jaw, the silver threading through his dark hair at the temples, the way his pupils dilated slightly as he looked at me. Kale. My name again, soft, almost reverent. When I saw you in that chamber, when you ran into battle to save me, I felt something. The starfire paste. No, before that, the moment our eyes met, my heart began to pound. Zephyr. You felt it too. I know you did. That is impossible. My bond was severed. I cannot feel. He reached out, slowly, giving me time to pull away. I did not. His fingertips touched my wrist, just above the raw skin where the chains had burned. Lightning. That was the only word for it. Electric. Alive. Searing through every nerve in my body. The bond. A mate bond. But I was wolfless. Bondless. Stripped of everything that made this possible. Yet it was there. Undeniable. Burning between us like a star. Zephyr inhaled sharply. His hand tightened on my wrist. Not painful. Anchoring. You are my mate. Wonder colored his voice. How? You have no wolf. The bond should not. I do not know. I could barely speak. The sensation was overwhelming. After the emptiness, the hollow silence, this was too much. Too bright. This should not be happening. But it is. He pulled me closer. Careful. Like I might shatter. I can feel you. The bond. It is different than I expected. Quieter. But real. I looked up at him. This man, this stranger who was somehow mine. I am broken, Zephyr. Wolfless. Exiled. I have nothing to offer you. You saved my life with roots and rocks. You ran into battle without hesitation. You survived the frozen abyss. His thumb brushed across my wrist. Gentle. You are not broken. You are forged. Tears pricked my eyes. I blinked them back. What do we do now? Now, he smiled. Now we climb out of this frozen hell. I take you to Frostspire Citadel, and we hunt the one who destroyed both our lives. Your kingdom will not accept a wolfless mate. My kingdom will accept who I tell them to accept. And if they do not, his smile turned sharp, dangerous. They can challenge me for the throne. Something warm unfurled in my chest. Hope, fragile and small, but real. Frostspire Citadel. I tested the words. I have heard stories. They say it is carved from ice and starlight. The stories do not do it justice. He released my wrist, stepped back. Come, we should move before dawn. The assassins will have reported their failure by now. We climbed. It took hours. The chimney was narrow and treacherous. My human strength made it harder. Several times I nearly fell. Each time Zephyr was there, catching me, steadying me. His touch always careful, always that strange electric warmth. When we finally emerged into open air, the sky was lightening. Dawn painted the horizon in shades of rose and gold. We stood on a mountain ridge. Below, the world spread out in endless white, snow and ice and frozen beauty. In the distance, I could see it. Frostspire Citadel. The stories were wrong. It was more. Towers that pierced the sky. Walls that gleamed like diamond. Bridges of ice suspended between spires, impossible and graceful. The whole structure seemed to grow from the mountain itself, natural and crafted in equal measure. Home, Zephyr said quietly. It is beautiful. Yes, and currently full of people who will want to know where I have been for 3 days. He glanced at me. Are you ready to meet the Frostbound court? Not even remotely. Good, I despise court politics anyway. He started down the ridge. We will keep your identity quiet for now. Officially, you are a prisoner, a healer I found in the abyss. That is not far from the truth. The best lies never are. We walked. The cold bit through my thin dress. I began to shiver. Zephyr noticed, stopped, removed his cloak. It was as ruined as the rest of his clothing, but it was warm. He draped it around my shoulders. I do not need— You are turning blue. Humor me. I pulled the cloak tighter. It smelled of pine and winter storms in him. Thank you. Kael. He waited until I looked at him. When we reach the Citadel, there will be questions, suspicion. My counsel is not kind to outsiders. I understand. But you will be safe, I give you my word. No one will harm you. Because I am your mate. Because you are under my protection. The bond remains between us for now. Smart. If the court knew about the mate bond, they would demand confirmation, tests, ceremonies, things that required a wolf, things I could not provide. I will follow your lead, AlphaKing. Zephyr, he corrected again. With you, always Zephyr. We reached the Citadel gates as the sun crested the mountains. Guards snapped to attention, stared in shock at their king returned bloody and battered with a half-frozen woman in tow. Open the gates, Zephyr commanded. Summon the council and send for my healer. One guard ran, the others bowed. The massive gates swung inward. I stepped into a world of crystal and ice and impossible architecture. The entry hall soared overhead. Columns carved to resemble frozen waterfalls supported the ceiling. Starlight filtered through skylights, made of pure ice that never melted. Magic hummed through every stone. Wolves gathered, court members in fine clothing, warriors in armor, servants pausing in their tasks, all staring at me, at the wolfless creature wearing their king's cloak. I kept my chin high, met their gazes without flinching. Let them stare. I had survived worse than judgment. The council met within the hour. Zephyr had given me a room, modest but comfortable, warm water for washing, clean clothes, simple gray wool that marked me as servant class, prisoner class. I did not complain. A healer had come. An elderly woman named Marin who tissed over my injuries but asked no questions. She treated the chain burns, left me salve and bandages, then departed without a word. Now I stood in the council chamber. It was smaller than I expected. Round, the walls carved from pale blue ice that seemed to glow from within. 12 chairs arranged in a circle. 11 were filled, I remarked. The 12th remained empty. Zephyr stood in the center. He had bathed, changed into formal clothes. Black leather and silver embroidery. His hair tied back, the wounds concealed beneath his clothing. He looked every inch the king. The council members looked at me like I was something they had scraped off their boots. You bring a wolfless creature into Frostspire. The speaker was a woman, ancient, white-haired, eyes like chips of glacier ice. Explain. I found her in the frozen abyss, Counselor Brenna. She saved my life. From what? Assassins. 20 of them. Wolfsbane poisoned blades. Murmurs rippled through the council. And she saved you. Brenna's skepticism was obvious. A wolfless Omega. She knew the antidote, prepared it under battle conditions. Without her, I would be dead. How convenient. Another counselor spoke, male, middle-aged, soft around the middle. That she happened to have this knowledge, happened to be in the abyss, happened to encounter you. Convenient or fate, Counselor Marcus. The result is the same. Marcus leaned forward. And what of her past? Where does she come from? What pack exiled her? I kept my face blank. Zephyr had warned me. Answer only direct questions. Volunteer nothing. Silver Pine, Zephyr answered for me. She was falsely accused, stripped and exiled. Falsely accused, Brenna repeated. Says who? Says her, and I believe her. With respect, AlphaKing. Marcus smiled without warmth. You have been gone for 3 days. You return wounded with a stranger and ask us to trust your judgment. I do not ask, I command. The temperature in the room dropped. Zephyr's power filled the space. Alpha command, the kind that made wolves want to bare their throats and submit. Most of the council members looked away, showed respect. Marcus held his gaze, pushed back. Even kings must answer to reason, Alpha. This woman is a security risk. She will be kept under guard, limited access. She will work in the healing chambers until I determine otherwise. And if she is a spy, if she was sent to infiltrate Frostspire, then I will handle it personally. Zephyr's voice could have cut glass. Are we clear, Counselor? Marcus bowed his head, yielded, but his eyes promised trouble. The council session continued. Discussion of the assassins, the failed hunt, defense preparations. I stood silent through it all, invisible, unimportant, until a messenger burst through the doors, young, breathless, terrified. AlphaKing, urgent news from the southern border. Zephyr stiffened. Speak. Ironwood Pack mobilizes for war. They march towards Silverpine territory. Blood will be spilled within days. My heart stopped. War. Theron was going to attack my former pack. How many warriors? Zephyr demanded. 500, maybe more. And they have allies. Shadowcrest pack rides with them. Shadowcrest, General Morvana's pack. Alert our southern legions. Double the border patrols. I want scouts on every movement Ironwood makes. Yes, AlphaKing. The messenger fled. Zephyr turned to the council. We will reconvene tomorrow. Dismissed. They filed out, some with concern, others with calculation. When the chamber was empty, Zephyr looked at me. Your former pack is about to be destroyed. I know. Do you care? I thought of my father, the man who raised me, who taught me to track and fight and lead, who believed Serenith over his own daughter. I do not know. The truth, Kale. I met his eyes. They threw me away, but they are still my people. The children, the innocents. They do not deserve slaughter. What would you have me do? Can you stop it? Not without declaring war myself. Ironwood and I have a treaty. If I interfere, it could ignite conflict across all 7 territories. Then there is nothing to be done. Zephyr crossed the room, stopped in front of me. There is always something to be done. The question is what price you are willing to pay. Meaning? You know things about Ironwood, their defenses, their alpha, the oracle who advises him. Understanding dawned cold and sharp. You want me to spy? I want you to help me prevent a massacre. He caught my chin gently, made me look at him. But only if you choose it. I will not force you. You owe them nothing. He was right, I owed them nothing. But the children's faces haunted me. The innocence and Serenith, standing beside Theron, smiling, winning. What do you need to know? Relief flickered across Zephyr's face. Everything. We worked through the night in a private study, maps spread across the table. I marked every detail I could remember. Guard rotations, weak points in the walls, the tunnels beneath the pack house that Theron's father had shown me years ago. Zephyr listened, asked questions, took notes in a script I could not read. This tunnel. He tapped the map. Does it connect to their water supply? Yes, my father helped design it during the last drought, in case of siege. If we poison the water, innocents drink from it too. I am not suggesting poison, but if we could sneak warriors inside, you would need someone who knows the route. The tunnels are a maze. One wrong turn and you are lost in the dark. His eyes met mine. You know them. I used to, when I had a wolf to see in the dark. We would provide light. I studied the map, traced the tunnel paths from memory. It is possible, if your warriors are skilled, if they move quietly. The Frostbound are the best warriors in the north. Better than Ironwood? We will find out. Dawn was breaking when we finally stopped. My eyes burned, my hand cramped from drawing and pointing and explaining. Zephyr stood, stretched. The movement pulled at his bandages. He did not wince. You should rest, he said. So should you. I have 3 days of kingdom business to catch up on. You were wounded yesterday, fighting 20 assassins. 19, you distracted one. Despite everything, I almost smiled. He walked me to the door, paused with his hand on the frame. Kale, what you are doing, helping me, it is not without risk. If Ironwood discovers you are here, alive, they already want me dead. What is the difference? The difference is now they will know you betrayed them. I am helping you prevent a war. They will not see it that way, his voice softened. I cannot promise your safety, even here. I am not asking for promises. What are you asking for? I looked up at him, this man, this king, this mate I did not expect and could not fully have. Justice for both of us. He nodded slowly. Then justice you will have. His hand lifted, almost touched my face, then fell. Good night, Kale. Good night, Zephyr. I walked back to my room through corridors growing light with dawn. Servants moved through the halls. Some stared, others pretended not to see me. The wolfless prisoner, the king's strange charity case. Let them think what they wanted. I knew the truth. I was here for a reason. The bond that should not exist. The knowledge of herbs that saved a king. The ruins in the abyss with their ancient warnings. Beware the veil of twilight lies. The daughter born of dark. Serenith Shadowveil. Daughter of a mercenary general. Twilight eyes and silver blonde hair. The pieces were there, scattered, waiting to be assembled. And I would find them, for my pack, for Zephyr's murdered family, for every wolf Serenith and her mother had destroyed. I would find the truth, and I would burn her lies to ash. 3 days passed in the healing chambers. The work was endless. Warriors injured in training, servants burned in kitchens, children with fevers. I moved among them with steady hands and quiet competence. Mixed salves, set bones, spoke soothing words. The other healers watched me with suspicion at first. This wolfless prisoner, this creature the king had dragged from the abyss. But herbs did not care about wolves. Broken bones healed the same whether set by Omega or Alpha. By the 3rd day, they stopped watching, started asking questions instead. How did I know to use frost lily for inflammation? Where had I learned the old technique for drawing poison from wounds? What was the recipe for the paste that healed burns without scarring? I answered, taught, shared what my mother had given me, and slowly the healer's eyes changed from suspicion to something else. Respect. Marin, the elderly healer who had tended my wounds, worked beside me most often. She said little, but her silence was comfortable, approving. On the 4th day, she spoke. You have the gift. I was grinding willow bark for pain relief. My mother was a skilled teacher. Teaching can only do so much. Marin's gnarled hands sorted dried herbs with practiced ease. The gift comes from somewhere deeper. You feel the plants, know them like old friends. Is that so unusual? Among wolves, yes. Most rely on their healing ability. Cuts close in hours, bones knit in days. We forget the old ways. She paused. Looked at me with eyes clouded by age but sharp with knowledge. But you learned them because you had to, because someone saw something in you worth teaching. My throat tightened. She died before she could finish the lessons. Perhaps, or perhaps she taught you exactly what you needed. Marin returned to her sorting. The moon goddess works in strange ways. I wanted to argue, tell her the moon goddess had abandoned me, stripped me, cast me into the abyss to die. But I was alive. Against all odds, against all reason. Maybe that meant something. The chamber doors opened. A servant entered, young, nervous. Healer Kale, the AlphaKing requests your presence in the Crystal Archives. Every healer in the room went still. The Crystal Archives, where ancient records were kept, where only scholars and royalty were permitted. Now, I asked. Immediately. I set down the mortar and pestle, wiped my hands. Followed the servant through winding corridors that climbed higher into the citadel. The archives occupied an entire tower, walls made of ice so clear you could see the sky through them. Shelves carved from crystal holding books and scrolls and stone tablets that predated written language. Zephyr stood in the center. Around him, 5 scholars pored over documents. Their excitement was palpable. He looked up when I entered. Our eyes met. The bond hummed, warm and constant. A heartbeat beneath my ribs that was not my own. Kael, thank you for coming. I bowed slightly, played the part. Prisoner, healer, nothing more. You summoned me, AlphaKing. I did. We have made a discovery about the ruins you found in the abyss. One of the scholars, a thin woman with ink-stained fingers, stepped forward. Her eyes gleamed with academic fervor. The symbols you described, we searched our records. Cross-referenced with fragments recovered from archaeological sites across the territories. She gestured to a table covered in drawings. They match. Match what? The sovereign dynasty. Another scholar spoke. Male, younger, breathless. A bloodline that ruled these lands 200 years ago, before the pact system, before territories divided. My pulse quickened. What happened to them? The scholars exchanged glances. They were slaughtered. Zephyr's voice was quiet, final. Every last one, men, women, children, hunted down and executed. By who? That part of the history was erased. Deliberately. Someone wanted the sovereigns forgotten. He moved closer to the table, picked up a drawing. But legends remain, stories passed down. They say the sovereigns possessed unique abilities, power beyond normal wolves. What kind of power? Control over elements, ice, fire, storm. The records are fragmentary, but they suggest the sovereigns were not just rulers. They were something more. The elderly scholar, a man with a beard like winter frost, cleared his throat. There is more, AlphaKing. The prophecy we found matches what KL described seeing in the abyss. He unrolled a scroll carefully. The parchment was ancient, brittle. The same text, word for word. I nodded slowly. I read it on the stone tablet, in the ruins. Zephyr's eyes locked on mine. You remember the words, about the veil of twilight lies. The daughter born of dark. Sereneth Shadowveil, I whispered. The scholars frowned, confused, but Zephyr understood. The oracle who framed you, who killed my family. Her name literally means Twilight Veil, and her mother is Morvana, general of shadow and death. The pieces were falling into place, terrible and precise. They are hunting sovereigns. I said it aloud, tested the shape of the words, destroying the bloodline, making sure none survive. Why, the female scholar asked. The sovereigns were killed 200 years ago. Why continue hunting now? Because one survived. Zephyr's eyes never left mine. The prophecy speaks of the last of sovereign kind, singular. One. The bearded scholar nodded slowly. If even one carrier of that bloodline lives, the power could resurface, awaken. And whoever controls that power, the young scholar began, controls the territories. Zephyr finished. Or whoever eliminates it ensures no one else can. My mind raced. The ruins, the hieroglyphs that I could somehow read, the way plants seemed to speak to me, my mother's hidden journals, the strange dreams I had as a child, images of wolves wearing crowns of stars. No, it could not be. KL, Zephyr's voice pulled me back. In the abyss, you said you found a scar on your body, one you had since birth. I nodded slowly. Where? I touched my left shoulder blade, the place that had always ached in winter, that my mother said was just a birthmark. May I see it? The scholars averted their eyes, gave us the pretense of privacy. I turned, pulled the collar of my dress aside, enough to reveal the mark. Zephyr inhaled sharply. His fingers touched the skin, gentle. The bond flared at the contact. It is a seal, he said quietly. Royal magic, designed to hide something, suppress it. Suppress what? Your wolf, your true nature. He traced the mark. I felt heat where his fingers moved. Kael, I think you are the last sovereign. The world tilted. That is impossible. My parents were Silverpine, common wolves. Was your mother born Silverpine? I opened my mouth, closed it. I did not know. She never spoke of her past, her family, where she came from before she met my father. She could have been hiding, Zephyr continued, protecting you. If Serenith's mother has been hunting sovereigns with us for 200 years, then my mother would have known, would have sealed my power to keep me safe. Yes. And the enormity of it crashed over me. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed about myself, a lie or not a lie, a necessary deception. My mother, dying of fever, or dying of something else, the weight of keeping such a secret, the fear of discovery. If this is true, I could barely speak. If I am what you say, why did the stripping ritual work? Why did I lose my wolf? You did not lose her, the bearded scholar spoke up, apologetic for intruding. The ritual severed your connection to the pack bond, but the sovereign wolf is not pack-born. It exists independent, dormant, waiting. For what? For the seal to break. How does it break? No one answered, because no one knew. The door to the archives burst open, a guard, armor rattling, face flushed. AlphaKing, the council demands immediate assembly. Lady Isolde has returned from her travels. Zephyr's expression hardened. Tell them I will be there shortly. She insisted as urgent, AlphaKing. She brings news of Ironwood's movements. Fine, dismissed. The guard fled. Zephyr turned to me. Isolde Frostborn, my former betrothed. She has been visiting allied packs, gathering intelligence. Something in his tone made me wary. You do not trust her. I trust very few people, KO. She is not among them. He moved toward the door, paused. Stay in the healing chambers. Do not wander. Isolde has eyes everywhere. You think she is dangerous. I think she is ambitious, which is often worse. He left. The scholars quietly returned to their work, pretending they had not heard, had not witnessed. I stood alone among ancient records and forgotten prophecies. The last sovereign. If it was true, everything changed. If it was true, Serenith would never stop hunting me. I returned to the healing chambers, tried to lose myself in work, but my hands shook, my mind wandered. Marin noticed, said nothing, just gave me simple tasks. Sorting, grinding, things that required movement but not thought. The afternoon wore on, shadows lengthened. Then she appeared. Lady Isolde Frostborn swept into the healing chambers like winter given form. Tall, willowy, hair so blonde it was nearly white, pulled back in an intricate braid. Eyes the pale blue of glacier ice. She wore traveling clothes. Fine leather and fur, a sword at her hip that looked more ornamental than practical. But the way she moved suggested otherwise. Every healer stopped working. Bowed. I bowed as well. Lower, prisoner showing respect to nobility. Isolde's gaze swept the room, paused on me. You must be the king's little charity case. Her voice was silk over steel. I kept my eyes down. I am called Kael, my lady. Kael. She moved closer, circled me slowly. The wolfless Omega who saved our king's life. How fortunate you were there. Fortune had little to do with it, my lady. I simply knew herbs. How useful, tell me. What pack trained you in such knowledge? My mother taught me, before she died. And your father? Alpha of Silverpine. Silverpine. Isolde's tone sharpened. The pack currently facing war with Ironwood. How interesting. The other healers were silent, listening, witnesses to whatever game Isolde was playing. I was exiled from Silverpine, my lady. I hold no loyalty to them. Convenient. And yet here you are, in Frostspire, in our king's confidence, working among his people. She stopped in front of me, close enough that I could smell her perfume, cold and sharp, like pine in winter. Look at me. I raised my eyes. Isolde was beautiful, the kind of beauty that was weapon and armor were both. Flawless skin, perfect features, the confident bearing of someone who had never been told no. The king has a soft heart, she said quietly, loud enough for only me to hear. He sees wounded creatures and wants to heal them. It is endearing, but dangerous. I am no threat to anyone, my lady. That remains to be seen. Her smile did not reach her eyes. But know this, little Omega, Zephyr is mine. We were betrothed since childhood. One interruption does not end that bond. I have no designs on the AlphaKing. Good, because if you did, she leaned closer. I would make your exile look like mercy. She straightened, raised her voice. Carry on with your work. I am sure you are very helpful. She swept out. The healers released collective breath. Marin caught my eye, shook her head slightly. Dangerous, her expression said. Be careful. I already knew. That evening, war preparations consumed the citadel. Warriors drilled in the yards. Weapons were sharpened. Supplies gathered. Zephyr spent hours in the war room with his generals. I saw him only in passing. A glance across a crowded corridor. A nod as he strode past. The bond ached with distance. I worked late into the night. Prepared medical supplies for the wounded that would inevitably come. Stockpiled bandages. Brewed potions for pain and infection. Marin worked beside me. You have done this before. prepared for war. My pack fought often, I learned young. It never gets easier, seeing what battle does to bodies. No, but we do what we can. A knock came at the healing chamber door. A servant. Healer Kale, the AlphaKing requests your presence. I followed through quiet corridors, to the same private study where we had worked on maps. Zephyr stood by the window, still in formal clothes. But his collar was loose, hair falling into his eyes. He looked exhausted. Kale, he turned when I entered. Thank you for coming. You summoned me, AlphaKing. Zephyr. The correction was automatic. Tired. I have news. My scouts report that Ironwood's march has slowed. They are consolidating forces with Shadowcrest at the southern border. How long before they attack Silverpine? 2 days, maybe 3. He moved closer, which means we have little time. For what? Isolde visited me today. His expression darkened. She claims to have intelligence on Ironwood's war plans, says she can help prevent bloodshed. Warning bells rang. Do you trust her? No, but I cannot ignore potential intelligence either. He caught my hand, the bond flared. She wants to lead a scouting party tomorrow, to gather more information near the border. Will you go? I cannot. I am needed here. The council, the preparations. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. But she suggested someone who knows Ironwood territory should accompany her scouts. Understanding crashed through me. She wants me to go. She framed it as proving your loyalty, helping Frostspire. His jaw tightened. I do not like it. Something feels wrong. Then I will not go. But if her intelligence is genuine, he stopped, conflicted. I hate this. Sending you into potential danger. Using you, do you? I cupped his face, made him look at me. You are not using me. I choose this for my people, for yours, for us. Kale, when this is over, when the war is done and Serenith is dealt with. I echoed his words from before. We will have time, but not yet. His forehead touched mine. I'm going to kiss you when this is done. I will hold you to that. He pulled back. Business, strategy, king. If you go, take weapons, stay alert. At the first sign of betrayal, run. Do you understand? Yes. I will have warriors shadow the party, far enough that Isolde will not notice, close enough to help if needed. You think she will betray me? I think she wants power, and desperate people make dangerous choices. We left at dawn, Isolde, myself, 4 warriors in light armor. The morning was cold, clear, beautiful and terrible. Isolde rode at the front, confident and commanding, every inch the noble warrior. I rode in the middle, watched, waited. The warriors were quiet, too quiet. They did not speak to each other, did not joke or complain as soldiers usually did. They watched me. We rode south, toward the border. The terrain grew rougher, trees giving way to rocky hills and frozen streams. Hours passed, then Isolde called a halt in a sheltered valley. We scout on foot from here, the border is close. The warriors dismounted, but they did not prepare for scouting. They surrounded me. Isolde turned, her beautiful face cold, empty. I am sorry, Kale, truly, but some prices must be paid. I reached for my daggers. Too slow. One warrior grabbed my arms. Another pressed a cloth over my mouth and nose. Sweet, chemical, overwhelming. I struggled, tried to shift. Nothing. No wolf to call. My vision blurred, legs buckled. The last thing I saw was Isolde's face. Serenith sends her regards. Then darkness. I woke in chains. Real chains this time, iron, heavy, binding my wrists above my head, my ankles spread and shackled to the floor. The room was stone, dark, a single torch burning. Underground, I could feel the weight of earth above me. My head pounded, mouth dry, the after effects of whatever drug they had used. Footsteps echoed, a door opened, light spilled in. Serenith Shadowveil stepped through, even here. In this place of captivity and pain, she was beautiful, serene, the oracle who was no oracle. Kalara Nightshade, she smiled. Or should I say Kalara Sovereign, last of a dead bloodline. My blood turned to ice. How long have you known? Since your mother fled to Silverpine 20 years ago? Oh yes, I know about her, about the journal she kept, the power she sealed inside her daughter. Serenith circled me. My mother has been hunting your line for 2 centuries. She has gotten very good at finding the ones who hide. You killed her. Fever is such a convenient cover. No one questions it, no one investigates. Her smile was poison. Just like no one questioned when the last sovereign strongholds fell to plague, to accidents, to tragic misfortune. Rage, pure and absolute. Why? Why hunt us? We were no threat. No threat? Serenith laughed. The sovereigns ruled these lands for 1,000 years. Their power was absolute, unquestionable. And when my ancestors finally overthrew them, we made sure none would rise again. Your ancestors were traitors. My ancestors were survivors. They saw an opportunity, took it, and have maintained control ever since. She leaned close. But you are the last piece. Once you are dead, the prophecy dies with you. Killing me will not stop the truth from coming out. What truth? That the noble sovereigns were overthrown by their own generals? That the bloodline was systematically eliminated? Who will believe it? She straightened, especially when the Alpha King's mate is revealed as a spy and a liar, a creature who seduced him to infiltrate Frostspire. Understanding crashed through me. Isolde works for you. Isolde works for power. I simply promised her the throne. Once you and Zephyr are dead, she will rule Frostspire, and I will rule Ironwood, an alliance unbreakable. Theron is a useful fool, like all alpha males. Point them at an enemy, whisper in their ear. They do the rest. Her smile was poison. When this war is done, when Silverpine is destroyed and Frostspire weakened, the real conquest begins. You will never succeed. I already have. You are here, helpless. And Zephyr believes you ran away, chose exile over him. He will know that is a lie. Will he, when Isolde shows him the letter you supposedly left? When she weeps and says you confessed your true mission? My heart sank. She had planned everything, every detail. Now, Serenith moved to a table covered in instruments, blades, needles, things designed for pain. We need to break that seal. Release your power, so I can take it for myself. You cannot take sovereign power. It is bloodborne. Perhaps, or perhaps the old texts are wrong. We will find out. She selected a knife, long, curved, sharp. This will hurt, a great deal. But if you cooperate, I will make Zephyr's death quick. She approached. I pulled against the chains. Useless. Human strength against iron. The blade touched my shoulder. The seal. Fire. Not from the knife, from inside. The seal burned, awakening, fighting. Serenith cut deeper. Pain exploded. But beneath it, something else. Rage. Ancient. Absolute. The seal cracked. Power flooded through me, cold and vast. Older than memory, the room frosted over. Ice spreading from where I hung, covering walls, floor, ceiling. Serenith stumbled back, eyes wide. Impossible. The seal should have suppressed. I shifted, not smoothly, not easily, in a wrenching, agonizing transformation that felt like being reborn through ice and pain. My wolf emerged, and she was massive, silver white, with eyes of violet and gold, twice the size of any normal wolf, power radiating from her like cold fire. The chain shattered. Serenith ran. I followed, burst from the cell into a corridor. Guards scattered, walls frosted at my passing. Behind me I heard roaring. Battle. Zephyr. He had come. I ran toward the sound, through twisting passages. Upstairs carved from stone, emerged into a large chamber. Zephyr fought Isolde and 6 warriors. His swords blurred. Blood sprayed. He saw me. Shock crossed his face. Then joy. Isolde saw me too. Snarled, shifted into a white wolf, smaller. Faster. She lunged at Zephyr's exposed side. I moved faster, met her in midair. We crashed together, fangs and claws and fury. She was skilled, trained, but I was sovereign. I threw her across the chamber. She hit stone, lay still. Breathing but broken, the warriors fled. Zephyr shifted back, stood among the dead, breathing hard, staring at me. Kael? I shifted, painful, new. Stood before him naked and trembling. Power still coursing through my veins. I am sorry, Isolde. She tricked me. Said you approved. He crossed the distance in 3 strides. Pulled me into his arms. I know. We found the letter she forged. Tracked you here. He pulled back, looked at me, really looked. You shifted. Your wolf is back. The seal broke when Serenith tried to take my power. Where is she now? Below, running. Not for long. He released me, gave me his cloak. We ran, back through corridors, down into the depths, found Serenith trying to escape through a tunnel. She spun, saw us, her serene mask cracked. You should be dead. A voice came from behind her. So should many people. But here we stand. Theron stepped from the shadows. I stopped, stared. He looked terrible, gaunt, haunted. His eyes held the weight of terrible knowledge. Theron, I whispered. KL. His voice broke. I am sorry. For everything. I should have believed you. Should have seen through her lies. Serenith laughed. The fool finally understands. Too late, as always. I discovered the truth 3 days ago. Theron's hands clenched. Found my father's hidden journals. He suspected you. Was going to expose you. That is why you killed him. Proof? Serenith's smile was vicious. You have none. Dead men tell no tales. But living oracles do. Theron pulled something from his cloak, a small vial. Wolfsbane extract. Enough to suppress your healing. I thought I would use it. Torture you. Make you confess. He looked at me. But that is not justice. That is revenge. Theron! Serenith's voice turned pleading. Sweet. I can explain. The visions. They were unclear. I thought... Stop. Theron's voice was cold. Final. I know what you are. What you have done. And I will spend the rest of my life atoning for my blindness. Serenith's face twisted. She lunged at me with a hidden blade. Theron moved, threw himself between us. The blade meant for my heart buried itself in his chest. No, I caught him as he fell. Forgive me. Blood bubbled from his lips. For doubting you. For hurting you. For being the fool she made me. Theron, please. Live, KL. His hand touched my face, gentle, like he used to. Be the queen you were meant to be. His eyes closed. The breath left him. Theron Blackthorn, Alpha of Ironwood, my childhood friend, my almost husband, dead in my arms. I laid him gently on the stone. Rose turned to Serenith. She backed away. He chose you, even at the end. The pathetic fool chose you. He chose redemption. I stepped forward, something you will never understand. She shifted, a gray wolf, unremarkable. No special power, no oracle gift, just a liar with a knife. We fought. She was fast, trained by her mercenary mother, but I had 200 years of rage. And ice. It poured from me, freezing the ground beneath her feet, slowing her movements. She slipped, fell. I shifted back, stood over her. Your mother is dead, Zephyr's voice cut through. My warriors killed her at dawn. Her army scattered. Ironwood surrendered when Theron sent word of your betrayal before he came here. The war is over. Serenith's eyes widened. No, that is impossible. Nothing is impossible. I met her gaze. Goodbye, Serenith. I formed ice in my palm. A spear, sharp and cold, drove it through her heart. She gasped, choked, died. The monster was gone. I collapsed. Zephyr caught me, held me as I shook. It is done, he whispered. You are safe. It is done. The coronation took place 6 weeks later. Frostspire Citadel filled with wolves from all 7 territories. Thousands gathered to witness. The sovereign returned. The scholars had confirmed everything. My bloodline, my power, my right. But I did not want to rule alone. Zephyr stood beside me. Equal, partner, mate. We wore crowns of ice and starlight, ancient symbols reforged for a new age. Before us, the packs knelt, Ironwood, Silverpine, Shadowcrest, now leaderless and reformed. Frostbound, all the territories, united. I spoke the old words, the ones my mother had whispered in dreams, the ones written in the ruins. By blood and bond, by ice and stars, we claim this throne, not for power, but for peace. Zephyr's voice joined mine. We rule not as conquerors, but as guardians. Together, we are the last and the first of a new age. The crowd roared. My father stood in the front row, tears streaming down his weathered face. He had knelt before me privately, begged forgiveness. I had given it, because hate was exhausting, and I had a future to build. Zephyr took my hand, raised it high. The cheers shook the citadel. We kissed as the sun set, as celebration erupted, as a new era began. 6 months later, I stood in the garden behind the royal wing, hand on my swollen belly. Twins. The healers had confirmed. 1 boy, 1 girl. Future heirs to 2 thrones. The evening was warm, peaceful. The smell of frost lily filled the air. Zephyr found me there, wrapped his arms around me from behind, rested his chin on my shoulder. Thinking? Remembering. The day they chained me, called me traitor. They were wrong. They were deceived. There is a difference. We had built a monument for Theron in Ironwood, honored him as the Alpha who chose redemption over pride. His sacrifice had saved both our packs. Do you regret it? Zephyr asked. Everything that happened, the pain, the loss. I thought about it, really considered. No, because it brought me here. To you. To this. Even the abyss? Especially the abyss. That is where I found myself. Where I became who I was meant to be. He kissed my temple. The Omega who became queen. The prisoner who became free. Above us, stars emerged, cold and beautiful. And in the palace behind us, our people celebrated. A kingdom united. A bloodline restored. A future bright with possibility. They had chained me at the altar, called me traitor, thrown me into darkness to die. But I had risen, stronger, fiercer, unstoppable. Because they were wrong about one thing. The Alpha King was not hunting a bride, he was hunting his equal. And he found her.